Great. So let's get this party started. I'm looking into the audience and I see like a couple of people who did shots with me at Trichli. So thank you very much for joining my speech here. So let's get it started. So my name is Frei, and my presentations always start with a huge disappointment. The reason behind it is that was my job for the last 10 years. I was selling dildos. I sold dildos for the last 10 years, and everybody who expects me to talk about dildos right now, I need to disappoint you, and that's the time where you can leave now very quickly, because we are not going to talk about dildos. Claudia's leaving. We are not going to talk about dildos. We are going to learn something, hopefully, and the things we are going to learn is 10 things I would have loved to know before I start my business. But before I will talk about my business, I will talk very quickly about myself because I love doing that. So, you know, serial entrepreneur, right? But I'm not a serial entrepreneur. I'm a serial failure. What does that mean? This is a list of all my projects I've tried, and none of them worked. There are like 51 projects and not one even worked. Selling sex toys was the best idea. Now imagine how bad the other ones were. This is a photo of my co-founder and me 2014, and it was a very, very happy day. The reason behind it is usually we had like on average 1 or 2 packages a day as an order. And at that day we had 73 packages and we were so freaking happy we had to take a photo. Forward, 10 years later, we sold we sent 1.5 million packages, and I'm not going to ask you if you ordered one because this will be embarrassing for you. You won't put your hands up and it will be embarrassing for me. So just, you know, chances are high that you bought something or maybe your parents. But I come here on stage and I talk about entrepreneurship, but that's all fake. I'm not an entrepreneur anymore, I sold my company. So, you know, I tried to be an entrepreneur, but now I'm just unemployed. What did I do after I sold my company? Like most reasonable people, I started watching YouTube. And the other thing was, I was 102 kilos. And I was really unhealthy. And my doctor told me, hey, Alan, you need to do something. So what I decided to do is, I decided to go to the Olympics. So I'm trying to go to the Olympics in 2026, and the next slide is just a reminder for myself because I always forget it. I'm going for the Philippines in curling to the Olympics. I'm trying to do that. And if you think, hey, is that an OnlyFans t-shirt? Yes, it is an OnlyFans t-shirt. I have an OnlyFans account, you can buy it at alanfrei.com/shop. Nobody ever bought it, be the first. So today I'm like 80 kilos, I lost like over 20 kilos, and I'm healthier than ever. And we won with the Filipino team a silver medal in Canada. So it's so freaking cool what can happen when you commit yourself for a year. But we are not here for my self-promotion and selling you fake t-shirts. We're going to talk about startups. And I want to bring, like as an entrepreneur, there are like many students in here. And I want to show you guys the mistakes I did, that in the future at one point maybe you will think, you know what? There was this dildo guy and he did like that mistake. Let's don't do that mistake. So everything starts with an idea. And I love being here because everybody in here talks about ideas. But one thing people forget is that everything is an idea. Look around here. Look around here. Your chair, your phone, the lights, the stage. Everything is an idea. Probably you are an idea of your parents. And that's just, you know, when have you been last time out in nature? It's everything idea. But how do you find good ideas and bad ideas? So the first big mistake what I did is I tried to do things that weren't important to me. And let me give you a very short example. So I was sitting on the toilet and then I had like the toilet paper and the toilet paper was finished. And I was like, okay, there's just this cardboard. I had to take out the cardboard, throw it away, and was like, hey, shouldn't that be solved smarter, like pressing paper a bit stronger, I can use it and throw it into the toilet. And I was like, this is $1 billion idea. I went to my friends and everybody was like, it's a really good idea, Alan. You should do that. So I started my research and stuff like that. And then I realized, you know what? Nobody gives a shit about it, literally. And that's the difference between solving a real problem, or how the Americans call it, just an itch. It's just a small thing. And often people want to try and not solve a problem, but just, an itch. And the thing is, how do you recognize how you have a good problem or just an itch, is if you don't need to convince people. So often startups pitch their idea and I ask them just, so what do you do? And then they start talking and talking and talking and talking, and they don't stop. If you have a good idea, 1 or 2 sentences for your elevator pitch is enough. Let's go to the next step, funding. So I would love to tell that you could do it part-time. I had many projects, as you saw, and I did them all on the side. But at one point in life, or at one point of your startup, you need to go all in. It's a hard truth, and you just need to do it. It's very, very tough, but you need to do it at one point. The next one, employees. And we were so bad at it. So my co-founder was working at Goldman Sachs. And our culture was like, we weren't talking about numbers for the employees. We didn't tell them how much money we make and how much profit we're making. We just kept it for ourselves. And today I'm like, this is the biggest mistake. You can be very transparent if you're in a bank or if you're in a law firm. But in a startup, it's a waste of time being intransparent. You need to be radical transparent. You have no time for chit-chat. So we decided in our company after like 3, 4, 5 hard years to be radical transparent, show everything, show every number. And today I would even go that far that I would show my employees' wages. I would show my wage, everybody's wages. Because I, as an entrepreneur, need to stand there and say, that's the reason why I'm giving this person more or less. And everybody talks. And just give it away. Just radical transparency. Don't waste your time with unuseful, unproductive shit. The next thing is timing. So one big mistake I did is riding the current wave. What do I mean by that? How many times have you heard AI today? This is incredible, this is the current wave. But if you look at founders like Adrian Locher, who's a very close friend of mine, that guy started his Merantics company in 2016, and at every lunch he was like, AI is coming, and I was like, dude, I read Naval Ravikant, he's saying generative AI won't come in the next 100 years, and now it's very close. So the people who really believe in it are not riding the current wave, and that's a big difference. And now, how do you distinguish between riding the current wave? How do you find like the next big thing without riding the current wave? Let me give you a mind model I use. The mind model I'm using is expansion versus compression. And it's a very simple model and it works in every industry. So I'm from a small town outside of Zurich, and we had a very small shop, like a local shop. And what happened, it was huge expansion. Every town had a small shop. Then Duttweiler, the founder of Migros, came and he consolidated, he compressed everything. And then what happened? The internet came along and suddenly everybody could do a shop again. And then next stage, Amazon, Digitech, Galaxus, Brock, they were super successful. They compressed again. And now Shopify is coming and I can have a shop for $100 a year, better than the one of Galaxus. So everything is expansion again. Same in finance. Every larger city had a bank. Then you had the large bank. Now in Switzerland, you have one large bank. Yeah, what will happen? Cryptocurrencies are coming, fintech. It's expansion again. So are you riding the current wave where you are, or can you go back and see, okay, we're in an expansion or compression cycle? And you can just take your approach, and are you right now in the compression cycle? So yeah, that's a model you can think about. Very simple. Business models. That's very interesting now when you talk about AI and blockchain. So there's this nice saying of Mark Andreessen, software is eating the world. AI is eating the world today. But this is very interesting. So a short question. Who has tried ChatGPT? Put your hands up. Look around, everybody. But now the interesting question. Who has ChatGPT Plus? Put your hand up. And now look around. This is an like a lot of entrepreneurs conference, and you have like 10%. Imagine that. For 20 francs a month, you can have the best intern in the world in your pocket, and you're not doing it. Why? It's very simple. Look at this number. 0.1% are plus users of ChatGPT. Why? Because people don't know how innovation works. They believe it's linear, but it's exponential. And so in my opinion, with AI, we are here. You know, don't panic. It will come, but people are building now. And the interesting part is blockchain. You know, probably 2 years ago, nobody was talking about blockchain. And the guys behind the scene were working on it. So keep that in mind, how innovation works. It's not linear. Let's go to the next one, financing. So one thing, what I did wrong is when we had a successful financing round, we started celebrating that financing round. And I truly believe today that's a wrong way to do it. Why? It's very, very simple. It's a bad day. I need to give away part of my company. It's not a good day. I need to give somebody a part of the company, and they will give me money. And the reason behind it is, for me, it's like just a transaction going to Migros and buying strawberries. I'm not celebrating that. So it's just a transaction, selling my shares and getting money for it. But on the other hand, and this is the important part, that if you fail with your company, if you fail with your startup, that's also just a transaction. 1 of 10 startups succeed. And if you fail with your company, don't be sad. It's part of it. Go to the next one. Try again. And so I'm trying to level, like, don't celebrate the funding round, but don't be sad if it fails. Just level it out. It's part of the process. And one small thing, investors are not your friends. They want to put money in, they want to get money out. It's very easy that you are like friends with your investors, hang out, and that's easy when everything goes well. But when it doesn't go well, you might do wrong decisions just for the sake of your investors. And as an entrepreneur, your company and employees and customers are number one. You can be afterwards friends when you sold the company and everybody's happy. Marketing. This is my favorite part because at Amorana I did the marketing. And I didn't do the marketing because I knew how to do marketing. I was the only one who needed to do it because Lucas was doing logistics and customer service, so I did marketing. So this is a very simple slide how I do marketing. So first, one of our investors said, Alan, either you have courage or you have money. And there are very few companies who have both. And let me give you an example. At the end of Amorana, we had money but not that much courage anymore. Why? We had this huge inflatable dildo, 5 meters, and it was like, we need to bring that dildo to the main station in Zurich and blow it up. And the marketing was like, it's a good idea, but you know, we might have problems there and there. And I realized, you have money or you have courage. And in the beginning as a startup, you need to have courage. You don't have money. These are the 3 most important things if you want to do marketing. Conversion rate, customer acquisition costs, customer lifetime value. It's only that. So it's very simple. You have the conversion rate, how many people are buying something. You have the traffic, how many people get to your website. Customer lifetime value, how often are they buying. You have Avea, the supplements company, you buy every day. You're at Amazon, you buy, you buy, you buy. Sex toys, once a year maybe, not that many. So think about that. Let me show you the reason why Amorana exists. Because in the beginning you have no money, you need to work for the conversion rate. So this is a website of one of our competitors. It's like a really, really, really bad website and still the same after 10 years. Let me show you through because you can't read it. On the left-hand corner, it's free DVD. Then you don't see the logo. And then in the middle is, don't you want to leave the site again after you spent so much money on marketing? And if you don't want to go on our site, you can go to this free sex site. And very small is like 60 people like this. Be the first of your friends. Probably not. So these guys have 1% conversion rate. at Amorana, we had 5.4% conversion rate. And that's the only reason why Amorana existed. The thing is, so if you take the same again, you spend 1 franc on your traffic per customer coming to your site. You have 1,000 people coming to your site, you have 1% conversion rate, 10 people are buying something on average for 100 francs, it is 1,000 francs. Half of it goes to our supplier, half of it we can keep. So with the 500 francs, we need to pay the 1,000 in marketing. That doesn't add up. With Amorana, we had a 5.4 conversion rate. So this meant the same 1,000 customers, 54 people are buying, on average 100 francs. So this means half of it, 2,700, goes to our suppliers. And then we can pay the 1,000 in marketing with the 2,700 we keep. And our competitors were like, it's impossible that you make so much marketing, it's impossible. Why? Because they were calculating with their own conversion rate and not with ours. So in the beginning, focus on conversion rate. It's the most important thing, and retention rate. Our customers coming back. Then the next thing, one was, this is it. This is my sign. Okay, we're gone. That's a very subtle sign to leave the stage. One thing is, what we didn't realize is, our investors came and said, you know what? You have an internet site. You need to scale globally. And we're like, yes, it's a good idea. We need to go global. So we started going to Italy. We started going to Poland. And then what happened? Nobody waited for us in Poland. Nobody waited for us in Italy. And then the competition came to Switzerland from Germany. And it was really tough. And then I realized, you know what? It's not just one size fits all. Only because you have a website doesn't mean you can go globally immediately. So only because investors say so doesn't mean that you can scale it up globally. E-commerce is quite locally. You're buying in Switzerland at Galaxus and Brock. Maybe the only one is Amazon and Wish and Temu are like the international ones, but the rest is quite locally. I need to be faster here. So one very important thing. When I sold my company, we were growing like crazy. And then we were in these talks with private equity and with our consultants. And we were like, we are growing like crazy. And they were like, hey, cool, very, very good. What's your EBITDA? We're like, it's good, but we're growing. I'm like, yes, that's good, but your EBITDA. And then I realized when you sell a company, you're still playing by the rules of old M&A companies. What they do is they look at EBITDA multiples. Not when you're Instagram, not when you're WhatsApp, but normal companies like mine was, they're looking at EBITDA. So with that in mind, start optimizing your EBITDA early if you decide to sell. Do that. It helps you. It helps you in the valuation. Last part, and you know when I go to banks, this is always a bit awkward when I show this slide, because this is a very simple one, persistence. So if you're an employee, you get like linear income. As an entrepreneur, you have nothing and then it explodes. The problem is your costs go linearly up when you're an employee. As an entrepreneur, they stay low. They might explode later, but it's like this huge gap. So if income is way higher than costs, you have freedom, and you can be at start here in St. Gallen and talk about dildos and curling. And final thing before the questions, one thing. Imagine your startup worked. Imagine you could do that. And that's such a nice thought that one day I will see one of you and you will say, you know what, hey, I avoided a couple of these mistakes and now I'm a super successful entrepreneur. Thanks very much for listening and have very critical questions. Who has the first question? You will get a book that doesn't exist yet. Nobody, okay. Yeah, over there. I think you will get a mic or not. Do you have the mic? You have it. You don't have a mic. Do we have a mic? They're getting nervous over there. Yes, just over there, the second last row. Yeah. And write me on LinkedIn, I'll send you the book. It's not good, but I'll just send it.
So, how do you fight procrastination?
I procrastinate. I'm a major procrastinator. What I do every day is I decided to delete everything that's not useful. So I procrastinate a lot. It's just how I do the things. I just don't want to have things piled up. So I decided I just need to have a lot of space in between. So I'm not filling my time with a lot of unuseful things. So I'm not going on coffee dates. I'm not doing any calls. I try to avoid that, to have like my time for procrastination and working when my muse comes. Does that help?
Yes.
Thanks.
Very much.
Any other question? To the right from your side and then over there.
Hello, can you send me the slides, please?
No. What do you want to do with the slides? You want to have the same presentation next year here?
Really?
No, I don't. Why? What do you want to see? EBITDA, bigger growth. What do you want to do with it?
No, just I forget quite a lot because busy schedule. So maybe because I enjoyed your talk.
And now I'm like bashing you and you enjoy my talk. Sorry. I will send you the slides. You're the only person in the world.
Thank you.
Copy them, send them around. Maybe 2 questions and then we stop.
Thank you for your presentation.
Thank you for coming.
You're welcome. I just wanted to ask, you had a lot of startups, but when do you know one is going to fail? Like before financing, after financing, how do you get your customers and how do you know people are going to buy it before putting money in it?
Yeah, I think that's the essence of entrepreneurship. So at one point you have experience, if you've done it a lot, but if you don't have it, it's very hard to distinguish when it's a good idea. And the one mental model I'm using is never convince people, never. And startups do that. So if you pitch your idea and you stand there and they don't ask a question, it's not convincing time, it's going back and working on my pitch instead of trying to convince. So you try, and if you see they're starting to ask questions, then you get something. If you try to convince them, you're not yet there. That's the best answer I have, and it's very practical, so don't convince.
Okay. Thank you.
One last question.
How did you identify the business opportunities for which you then actually went? Was it rather opportunistic or a strategic approach of looking into trends? And I mean, you talked about expansion, compression, but how did you go about?
So let me tell you the Amarana story very, very quickly, and then I will stop. Nothing worked. I was unsuccessful. My friends were very successful. And then we had the idea, okay, you know what? Let's do sex toys. And it's not like today's sex toys. At the time, my parents, I was raised Catholic. My mom was like, okay, this is really bad. So what we did is we decided we are trying to sell sex toys online. And like we had all these subscription-based models, right? So we took all our private email addresses, made a landing page in half a day, sent out to 4,000 people, including professors of ours, and 3 of my friends who didn't know it was me bought something. And we were like, fuck, somebody bought something. So we ran to a sex toy shop, we bought everything that was 50%, took away the sticker, put it into a box, like massage oil and stuff, sent it out. And then we got really angry emails. They were like, this is a scam, like the massage oil was, was too old and blah, blah, blah. And then we were like, hey guys, it's us, we're trying this new business. And they were like, oh, idea is good, but execution is shit. So then we were like, okay. And then we started, starting with single sex toys, because it was always for couples, we weren't dodgy. And then what we saw is like, okay, suddenly people come to our website as a couple looking at our site. And then 50 Shades came along and the thing exploded. So was it strategic? Probably the first part was not riding the current wave because nobody was liking sex toys at the time. And then just try things, iterate, try. And if you need to convince people, stop. But if there's something on it and people start buying, all in. Thank you very much for listening. Have a nice day.